Vicky Ford, Conservative MEP for the East of England. Does this vote today really set the way, open the way for GM to go ahead in parts of England, in your view?
Well, yes, and it's better than where we were. So at the moment and for the past decade, all decisions on GM have been blocked and there's been a deadlock and there's been no agreement. Now, at least, decision making is coming back from Brussels to member states, so countries will be able to make their own decisions.
What's the impact of that likely to be? Where do you see the potential for GM if the decision now lies with the UK, so the UK could, in theory, allow the go-ahead for GM research and crops?
Okay, well, we already have some of the world's best agricultural research happening in the east of England. That's because of our climate and because of our soil. So we've got places like Rothamsted in Hertfordshire, which is the world's oldest agricultural research establishment. There they grew this trial of wheat which resists pests, so you don't need to use insecticides on your wheat crop. In Norwich we've got John Innes, where they've been working, for example, on blight-free potatoes. The blight-free potato, it takes a gene from a wild potato into one of our normal, potatoes you buy in the shop, and that gene makes it blight resistant. So you don't need to spray your crop 15 times a year with chemicals. Now, these crops may help feed the world's growing population because you'd get better harvests and reduce your chemicals and help combat droughts and excessive rain that we've seen. And new varieties like this may be extremely helpful and bring the costs down for food prices, a real issue. So what I would like to see is the same way like in medicine. You don't approve every medicine. You choose the best ones, you choose the safest ones. I'd like to see an ability to say, this crop is good, it can't cross-contaminate the traditional varieties, it's low risk, it's got all these, but let's approve that one. Not all of them. So not blanket bans, but not blanket approvals, a science-led solution. And the UK, or at least England, will now be able to do that.
You mentioned there the work already underway in Cambridgeshire, in Norwich and places like that. Do you now see the potential for a larger, more successful biotech industry in the east of England if they're now going to be able to develop products especially for the British market?
Well, as I said, and you just mentioned Cambridge as well, and the Department for Applied Sciences at Cambridge, NIAB in Cambridge, world famous crop scientists, and they are in our part of the world because of our climate, because of our history, and those scientists have already started to go and work in other parts of the world because of this blanket ban from Europe. Now, this is not perfect, okay? It would be much better if we could have a science-led solution all over our single market, our common market, so that then our farmers would know their crops can easily be exported across the channel, etc. But given that we haven't been able to get that for a decade, this is the best I can do, and I hope that therefore that gives a little bit more certainty to the scientists. It's not perfect. I'd have liked a solution across all of Europe, but we can't get that.
Just to put the other side, the environmental side, there are concerns from green groups, and indeed the green groups here in the Parliament voted against this. Do you accept some of their concerns, environmentalist concerns, about things like cross-contamination and the unknowns that still exist when it comes to GM?
I accept they have concerns about some crops, but I don't agree with this blanket banning of all next generation science. Take the blight-free potato. Potatoes do not pollinate each other, so you cannot cross-contaminate your potato crop. Okay, here you have a way to reduce chemicals being sprayed on the land. Environmentalists want fewer chemicals on the land. It saves energy, it saves fuel as well. So why are you not approving this crop?
From the best case scenario, taking what we have now got in this compromise agreement, what's the potential for the east of England in terms of jobs, in terms of the industry, both from the farming side, but also that research side as well?
Well, it's not as great as it could be if the farmers had the certainty that all 28 countries, all 500 million consumers were going to take the same approach. Because, of course, we have some of the best wheat yields, for example, across all of Europe. And so this is why we are the grain basket, not just of the UK, but actually of a lot of Europe as well. So it would be better if we knew that the same approach was going to be taken for our exports as well. But we are the world's leading agricultural centre. We have a horticulture industry that is worth over 10 billion a year to the UK economy, agricultural industry even more. So we need to make sure we can harness the best science. We need to be able to export those lessons, but that is more to help consumers and to help combat this issue of crop failure and then high escalating food prices, which is such an issue for consumers.